Beginning in the Victorian era and right through the 20th century, in Great Britain, there's been a brass band in every little village, every colliery, every factory, and of course in every Salvation Army church. And a great deal of music was written specifically for these brass bands. Eric Ball was born in London in 1903 and was a renowned conductor and composer of music for brass bands, whose fame spread quite widely and rapidly because he was felt to be a superb composer. In 1937, he was invited to the Salvation Army music camp in Star Lake in New Jersey, a camp that incidentally is still functioning to this day. When he was there, he wrote a march to commemorate his visit, and he was actually writing it down with a squad of copyists sitting around the table. So once he'd finished a page of the manuscript, he'd hand it off to them, and they would be able to then dissect out the various instrument parts and write those so they could play the march that day. Well, just a few years after it was written, in the 1940s, I played this march and it became a favorite of mine. So I was delighted when, about 60 years later, I came across an original score, written of course for brass band. But brass bands don't have flutes or clarinets or saxophones, so I had to arrange it to suit the instrumentation that we have in a concert band, so that we could play it. And here is that version of the march, Star Lake by Eric Ball. Now a follow-up. I found out just yesterday that we are not alone in using this march in our virtual concert. Here's part of a performance of Star Lake by a large number of individual members of Salvation Army bands from around the world, who joined together to produce this very recent virtual concert performance. And guess what they chose to play? Of course, it was Star Lake. There were 82 participants from 12 countries who each recorded their individual part and sent them in to be collated. And this clip shows players who were from Korea, New Zealand, the UK and France. It certainly seems as though Star Lake isn't just my favourite march.